Chair. Quote from the first recommendation of the committee. The committee has not seen sufficient evidence to support the proposed introduction of a seasonal employment permit and is also concerned about the lack of detail in the proposal. The protections and provisions under the existing general employment permit scheme must not be diminished and workers' rights must not be undermined. But certainly what we have before us is an approach by the government of emphasising flexibility for employers, and with this scheme opening up a carte blanche for employers in certain sectors, fruit picking, hospitality, to treat migrant workers like tools who can be brought in for a few relevant months, exploited as good as they possibly can, and then off they go without a second thought at the end of the season. I'm interested in hearing the Minister's response, but I don't see how such a system of seasonal exploitation, let's be honest, that's what it is, isn't purely designed for the benefit of the employers and leave workers in a very weak situations without ability to organise, without ability to be integrated, and just here to be exploited for a few months. So yeah, the Minister says, look, we're going to do protections, whatever, so I'm interested in hearing that. But the purpose of a seasonal employment scheme is for these particular sectors, very low paid sectors, to get extra cheap labour in for a small period of time without the danger of them getting organised and fighting to improve their terms and conditions.
Thanks, Chair. And look, Chair, I accept the committee have a different view on this, or most of the members of the committee, and we've discussed this at length a few times as well. And that's why I've said I'm willing to work with members to get this right in terms of the protections, the additional protections we put in place around that. And we could do that at report stage and before report stage. I'm willing to sit down with members here to tease through. We've a number of changes that we're working on with different departments that we will bring through Cabinet as well to strengthen this position as well. But there's two things here. First of all, a seasonal permit is not unique to Ireland. We're unique that we haven't got one. Most other countries do have it. And I know there's reference to certain organisations here who don't support that, but just to be very clear, I did seek the guidance from the International Organisation for Migration, who are one of the leading intergovernmental advice bodies on this as well, and they do support under the right conditions to having a seasonal permit, and their expertise in this area well beyond Ireland and many other countries as well, so they're not against us. And so but I'm happy to tease this through with people as well. The need for it, there's certain sectors, and Deputy Staunton mentioned flower picking, there's fruit picking, and another example is agricultural contractors. And there's a number of people there who spend the winter in New Zealand harvesting silage in other areas, and then come here in the summer, and vice versa. So there are a number of sectors who will use this scheme. What we're saying though is that we make it won't be just easy to be able to avail of a seasonal permit. Our recommendation that we'll bring to you probably around regulation and report stage is that we will probably try this maybe first of all as a pilot scheme, or maybe pick a sector that we can track and monitor and work with to see does this work. All the protections that are there for anybody that works in the state will be there for a seasonal worker or not. They're there. And there's no issue with strengthening the position of them, Deputy Riley. As you know, we've increased the budget to WRC a couple of years running there. And there's an issue with having enough staff, but we'll certainly work with them on that as well. But they're very committed to that as well. And they are in a position to be able to manage this and track this as well. So the big issue for us, I think, is that is a change that members here should be happy with, that employers will have to be approved a seasonal employment permit. And that means we'll interrogate them as a company and the directors to make sure that they honour and respect the laws of the state. To be very clear on that. So you won't be getting approval too easily on that one as well. And that's something that we'll work on as well, so we can track that. The issue is, if an agency brings in a seasonal worker, what's their responsibilities? We're very clear on this, and we will be, and we can copy fast on this in report stage and regulations, that they will be responsible for the terms and conditions of that employee and to respect that the law has been followed. Because we can't have the situation which happens on some occasions, that it falls between, or the agency says it wasn't them, or vice versa. We're very clear on that, and the law will reflect that as well. So we want to strengthen this as well, and that seasonal workers will have that ability to easily transfer their seasonal employment permit to another improved employer. So that's key. I think members here want that across the board with the permits, to deal with this concern that a person could be tied to an employer that's not following the rules of the law. and so we are working with on that to strengthen that as well. And then there will be issues around terms and conditions around wages, that they adhere to the national minimum wage, on track to the living wage, accommodation has been offered, and that does not come out of the wages as well. So that's the space we're in, is to protect this. And we do think there's a need for it, and it is internationally accepted that there's a need for seasonal workers, but we will go beyond to make sure that people are not abusing the situation. And I have to repeat, the majority of employers are good employers. You know, and we have to make sure the legislation doesn't penalise good employers, but make sure we can deal with those who are not good employers, and I do allow people to work in poor conditions, and that's something that we will deal with. And I think the state, you know, we have quite strong industrial and protections there for our workers, and something that, again, they'll be fully available to anybody, no matter where they're employed or where, in this sector as well. So I accept, Deputy Murphy, we don't have all the amendments we'd like to have here. We just have not got them ready. So I am saying that we will return to this report stage or before it to try to work with you on this as well, because we believe it's needed. I understand and accept people here have a genuine disagreement with that, and I'm willing to work with you on that we can strengthen the position that if someone is on a seasonal worker, that they will have all the protections and more in the state as well.